Today's lesson involves determining constant of proportionality from an equation. Your learning target says, given an equation, I can determine the constant of proportionality from my data. Here are the steps we're going to follow for finding the constant of proportionality from an equation. First, we're going to create a table of values that works for your equation. Then we'll graph those ordered pairs. Then we're going to find the C.O.P on the graph, and then we're going to see if we can find some patterns that we notice about the C.O.P and our equation. So let's look at this first equation, y equals 8x. So I'm just going to pick some numbers that I like that are easy for me to deal with. For example, if x might be 0, or it might be 1, or it might be 2. Those are nice, easy numbers. If x is 0, I'm going to replace the x in our equation with a 0. And since there's no operating symbol, I just have a letter and a number together. That means I have 8 zeros, or 8 times 0. Either way you do it, 8 times 0 is 0. Oops, 0. And that just created an ordered pair. If I replace the x with a 1, that means I have 8 ones, or 8 times 1. I now have the ordered pair 1, 8. And if I replace the x with a 2, that means I have 8 twos, or 8 times 2. So my ordered pair would be 2, 16. So now I have 3 ordered pairs. I'm going to go ahead and draw in just quadrant 1 today. I'm going to count by 2s going up the side. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. And I think I'm going to count by 1s going across. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. So 0, 0, my blue dot is going to be right here, 0, 0. My red dot over 1, up 8. And my green dot over 2, up 16. And then I can just connect my dots. So for our constant of proportionality, we learn to move from one dot to the next. So in this case, I'm going to start with my green dot. I'm going to move down to the red dot, keeping in mind that I counted by 2s going up the side. So I'm going down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and over just 1, because remember I counted by 1s on the bottom. So now I'm going to go from my red dot to my blue dot, counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 down, and 1 to the left. 8 down, my change in y, and 1 to the left, my change in x. Actually, when you have a negative on top and bottom, they cancel each other out, so I actually have a constant proportionality of 8 over 1. Oh my goodness, let's look at this equation. There's a connection there. Do you see it? Let's try again and see if that connection or that pattern you saw works for this one as well. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pick some nice, easy numbers for x. 0, 1, and 2 are my favorites. And then I can replace x with, in this case, the first one is 0. So I have 1.6 zeros, or 1.6 times 0, which is 0. I have my first ordered pair. Then I can replace x with 1 for this one. And 1.6 times 1 is 1.6. I now have my second ordered pair. And then I can replace the x with a 2. 1.6 times 2 is going to give me 3.2, and I have my third ordered pair. So I'm going to set up my quadrant 1. I think I'm going to count, let's see, by 0.4s. So if I do that, here's how it's going to come. Oh, that's an 8. Here's how it's going to come out. Okay. And then going across the bottom, I can just do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Blue dot is at 0, 0, right there. Red dot is over 1, up 1.6. And my green dot is over 2, up 3.2. All right. I'm going to go ahead and connect my line. And now I can find my C.O.P from this graph. So I'm going to count down. It might be easier just to watch the side. I'm going to count down from 3.2 down to 1.6. So I'm counting down. And that's actually 1.6 down and 1 over. And then I'm going to go from 1.6 down to 0. So I'm going to count down another 1.6 and over 1. So I went down 1.6. That's my change in y. I went to the left 1. That's my change in x. Because I have a negative on top and bottom, they cancel each other. Let's look at this equation. Did the same thing happen? It looks like my coefficient. Now, a coefficient is this multiplier right here. Oop, I didn't mean to color over the top of that. Let me erase that. This coefficient right here is the numerator of my constant of proportionality. And if there is no denominator, I'm just going to stick a 1 under there. So here's your hint. Look at your equation. What number is stuck next to the x? That's your constant of proportionality. If it's missing a denominator, use the number 1.